Hi everybody. So I'm here to share with you a requested tutorial on how I made my shaker frames using my Pretty Pink Posh dies. I believe that I created 2 flip books using the same shaker pocket or shaker frame, and I think one I gave to Nurse Tara and one I gave to Anna, who's Serenity Creations. So I think that that's what my subby was talking about. So I'm going to share with you the way that I enjoy making shakers and why, like, what's my method and why, you know, the method to my madness, I guess, but why I like to do it my way. And I'll show you a couple of, you know, tips and tricks along the way, like I like to do, and why I don't use the other methods that I've tried. So anyway, also I wanted to tell you that this is not easy. I mean, it is easy and it's not. Like, it takes practice. And I like, me personally, I like perfection in my crafting, and so I go a little bit slower, but I also go the extra mile. I hate to say that, but that's my way. So do what makes you happy, and according to how much time you have and the supplies that you have on hand. But I'm just going to take you through my experiences and why I do what I do. And you know, I just, God forbid I gift somebody something and it falls apart. That would break my heart. So anyway, you know, I'm rambling, but this is, so I created a sample of what I believe you're looking for, and I'll walk you through it a little bit. This is the Pretty Pink Posh scallop frames. You can find these dies cheaper on Gina Marie's website. She has very similar pair. And what I did was I used, whoops, I didn't use that one, but I used this for the trees. This is the Slender Firs, and there's the number right there. Okay, so that's what I used just for a little decoration. I used this paper pack that I picked up at Michael's, and this is Red and White Christmas. I will just quickly flip through. What I really liked about this were there was sheets of vellum, and these pieces you can cut out to make a card and fold in the middle, like score it in the middle and make a card. There are vellum pieces, just very, very pretty. And I want to use a lot of red, black, and silver this year for like my home decorating. So this is what I use. See, there's more vellum. And then I also used this, which I cut apart, which I'll share with you. Okay, and for my plastic, well, I guess acetate, I had bought this several years ago at Michael's. This is by Graphics. I found this in the children's crafting. I don't know if they have this anymore because, like I said, I bought this like 3 years ago. So, and I still have, it's an 8.5 by 11 pad, and I still have this much left. So, I mean, a little goes a long way, especially with shakers. I don't know why this isn't focusing, but you see I have like almost the whole pad left. So that's what it's called, clear craft plastic. So I haven't bought anything new. I don't use packaging. I use this stuff. Okay, and then I'll show you a couple of other things, you know, sequins and stuff along the way. Okay, so what I did was I took the largest frame and I cut my top piece out of decorative paper. Okay, this could be anything you have in your stash. Valentine's, holiday. It could be just plain cardstock that you're going to put a little embellishment on. You know, if it's summer paper, you know, the endless possibilities, right? So I did one for the cover. Then what I did was I cut my base piece. What I did was, instead of pulling out my nestabilities, which I'm very lazy, and deciding which nestability matched exactly the frame, I measured the frame and it was 5 by 4. So I cut a piece of cardstock for the base, 5 by 4, and then a piece of that crafting plastic, 5 by 4 for the, you know, for this piece, the frame piece, okay? So then what I did, and this is the time-consuming part, but for me, this is what I like the most as far as the depth of my shakers. I cut out 6 more scalloped frames. Now, I have used foam, which I will show you, and I have used foam adhesive to lift the shaker, neither of which I like. So then what I did was, just to save a little bit of time, I assemble my piece first, like this piece that's going to give the sequins, you know, the place to shake around, which is the essential part of your shaker. Now, why this isn't focusing, I don't know. Okay, there we go. See how thick it is? So I'm going to add one more layer just so you see what I use. I prefer this glue. I don't know what that is. This is, now I've shown this before, this is one of my favorite glue pens, or wet adhesives. It's a Zig 2-way glue pen, squeeze and roll. And why I like to use wet adhesive is it gives me a little bit of wiggle room. And I like to start in the corner. Like, that's where I like most of my adhesive to be. I hope that this is showing. I'll show you. And I don't put too much, because if it oozes out, you know, it gets very messy, especially when you're using the craft plastic. Okay. All right. Now, what I like to do is I like to make sure that the corners have the most adhesive. Okay. And then I just put a very small line of adhesive around. And why I like wet adhesive is because when I go to glue it down, if this was sticky strip and I've come this far on my 6th piece and it's crooked, that basically ruins my whole project. So with wet adhesive, you have a little bit of wiggle room just to kind of scooch it around. Okay, then I, you know, press it like this, make sure it's nicely adhered, and you have a nice thick piece. And also, what I like about it is when it dries, nothing is going to stick. Like if you have a little piece of tape in here and the sequin sticks, it's going to stick in there. You know, out here, there's no sticky residue. Again, these are like my issues, so this is why I craft the way I craft. Okay, so for this piece, you can also use that same Zig 2-way glue pen, but I like to use glossy accents, and I'll show you why or how the best way to, you know. What I like to do is, again, because this is the frame, I like to add most of the glue that I'm going to add right on the corner, but not a blob, okay? And then a very thin kind of line going around. Because if this oozes out when you add your plastic, it's going to have you're going to have like scuff marks on the plastic. And again, it's going to, you know, you're going to be upset. It's going to ruin everything if you've come far enough where then you have to go back and cut more paper and start all over again. I hope that makes sense. Okay. Then what I like to do is I like to just lay it down, and this is the gentle part. What I do is I take this and line it up as best I can on that corner, and I kind of just let it drop for a minute, okay? I know it's hard to see, but you see how, let's just see if it, okay. You see how the glue has kind of adhered, but it hasn't oozed out anywhere? I just give the glossy accents a minute to like deal. Okay, and then what I do is I push it very gently. Okay, to make sure it's flush with all the corners. And I don't like push down. I kind of just like, you know, very softly go around the edges like that. Okay. Okay. And this way, nothing oozed out. That's why I don't put adhesive all the way by the scallops and by the edges. See now how it looks once you press down? The adhesive is definitely there. It's not going to go anywhere, and you're not going to ruin your project, I promise. Okay, put that aside, and let's adhere this little piece from the cut aparts. Okay, sorry, my floors are squeaking. Oh, I think I ran out of adhesive. Okay. Let's see this one. Ooh, again, you'll be a little bit neater. This is just for demonstration. So then I take the frame, I kind of position it where I think it's going to go, and then I center this as best I can. Okay. Nope. Well, it's a little bit crooked. Let me see. Okay. Well, you know what, guys? Okay. I'm just going to leave it the way it is. Okay. So it is crooked, but that's okay. Now, let me adhere. Again, I'm going to use wet glue. This time I'm just going to use my glue pen just for the sake of the video, because I think okay. I just really take care of mainly the corners, and then a small line towards the middle of the frame. I don't like to get, again, too close to any edge where this might, possibly ooze out and then go all over the plastic. Okay. Okay. See how nothing happened there on the inside? It's nice and clean. Okay. I'm going to stop the video here because I'm almost at 15 minutes and my camera is going to shut off. So I'll restart the video right from here. Okay, so that's that, right? So we have our front piece, and we have our base. So it's going to look like that once we put the sequins and assemble it. Okay, I will be right back. Okay, so I think this is where we left off, right? I had adhered the frame to the base. Okay, and what I did was, I was not going to let that rest. So I cut a new 5x4 piece and I made this centered. So now I feel better. Whew. So, okay. So then before I put the sequins, I just want to talk about filling it and what I found. If you don't like, when the shaker is standing up, in your book or your card. If you don't like that they all fall and kind of gather to the bottom, you can do a very simple step before you assemble your shaker. I adhered a couple of sequins to the background so that with a little bit of static and a little bit of shaking, some of the sequins will stick naturally, but those that are glued down will stick permanently. And how I did that was, you could use the glossy accents because it's a fine tip, but I have this multimedia matte glue that came in this bottle. If you have multimedia matte, you can transfer it into a bottle with a needle tip. You know, it's not a problem. So I'm just going to kind of gauge where I think I like some of the sequins to be. And this glue actually, it comes out super slow. So if it doesn't, you know, come out, the nozzle is really fine, and that kind of makes for, I don't know how people, you know, how it doesn't clog on other people, but it always clogs with me. See, like that's pretty clogged. And this is a super fine needle I have that I found. That's actually what I put in there. Okay, well, let's see. If it doesn't work, I'm just going to switch to glossy accents. So let me get this thing out of the way. And this dries clear, so it won't ruin anything. Okay, I'm not gonna do that. Let's try glossy accents. Okay, so I'll put a dab there. I'll put a little one here. And maybe one like there. Okay. So then what you can do is you can try and pick up these sneaky little sequins with your fingers, or you can use one of these little sticks. It's sticky on one side and it has like a pokey thing on the other. So I have that, so I'm just going to do that quickly for the sake of, you know, time in the video. Okay, so maybe we'll put a silver one here. Okay, and maybe a little smaller red one, a little more sparkly. Okay, so now you have a little trio. Okay, so at this point you can fill whatever colors you've decided to use. Since I'm using reds and silvers, I pulled out a couple of my little mixes, and I'm just going to pour. This one is Avery L. This one I think they gave as a birthday, like if you placed an order, which I didn't even know about. They gave you sequins as a gift, I think. So I'm going to put a few of those. I'm going to put, I think I put a couple of those. They're a little bit lighter from Neat and Tangled. When you order from them, they always give you a little gift. And then this is a company called Lucy's Things. She has her own website, and then Simon Says Stamp, I know, sells her mixes. So there is some silver, fun little silver sequins in there. And I'm going to use this mix, which I think came from Michael's last year, because it has like some shine and iridescence. And I think I already overdid it, but that's okay. Okay. Alrighty. So then again, you can use whatever adhesive you like. I'm going to use wet glue because I need a little bit of wiggle room, right? Just in case. If I use tape or foam tape, which I have used in the past, that's just the method I don't prefer. Okay. So I like to try and center my sequins in the middle and then glue this down, as opposed to put my sequins in here and try to flip that over. And then I'm going to see here. And again, why I like the wet glue, okay, is because I can flip it over and it's a little crooked, so okay. There we go. Okay. So now when your shaker sits like this, there are still a few sorry about that. There are a few pieces that are, you know, hanging out up here. So if it's sitting down like this, or you go like this or like this, there are a few pieces, and you see with static, some of the pieces will stick, but you're kind of guaranteed that, you know, a few of them that you stuck down will stay exactly where you stuck them down. Okay? So that's that. Now, what I wanted to share with you is, you know, you're stuck with, oh, I have all these scraps. What am I going to do now? So these, because I cut 6 pieces for the depth of my shaker, I have all these extras. Well, in these colors, you can, you know, if it was summertime, you can make summer tags, but now you can use these as bases. I just cut a little bit bigger than, so there is a border, adhered the scraps, and you can either use this as a base for a card, or you can punch a hole and make a little scene and use them for tags, right? So nothing goes to waste. And then what I wanted to do is, I wanted to share with you why I don't use foam. This is adhesive foam that I found at Creatology, I believe. So this is Michael's, okay? And when you cut it out, well, I had to cut out 2 of them and, you know, adhere them to, so I took one of the backings off, adhered it, and then adhered the other backing to the frame. So now I have to use wet glue here, which I don't like. I don't find wet glue works good with foam for me. And I don't like score tape or double-sided adhesive. But also, there's not a whole lot of room here. You see how it just becomes wonky when you cut it, and it never finds its perfect shape back. So for me to go back now and cut this and get stuck to my scissors, even though they're, you know, stick-free scissors, whatever they're called, that bothers me. So that's why I don't use foam. Now, I also have this big, huge foam roll that I had bought from Simon Says Stamp that I thought I would use for shakers. Well, first of all, it's too thin, so I have to struggle with getting it on top of itself. So what I do is I take the roll and then I kind of fold it on itself. But if you have a thin frame like this, then you have to go back and cut it. Your scissors are going to stick. It's never going to be a straight line because it's adhesive, right? So I use this for other stuff, but anyway, and it doesn't give as much depth as I'd like. And again, it's not wet adhesive. So if I were to make a mistake in putting, you know, the dimension in, it kind of ruins everything and I have to start over. So that's why I enjoy just cutting the 6 pieces of paper, the cardstock. These wafer thin dies do cut thin chipboard, but they also cut 110-pound cardstock. And if you're like me, you have every color of cardstock under the rainbow. So you can easily match it to the colors that you're creating, and it finishes with a clean line, right? So that's red. And then I used white here. I could have used silver or, you know, foil, but anyway, and I don't know. I like the way that it's sturdy. Let's see. And I don't know that I used this method on those flip books, but this is the best method that I found that I use now. This is my go-to method. And, you know, it has some heft and it doesn't bend, and it's just a nice finished edge. Oh, okay. So, and it's really, you know, it's pretty thick. And then again, like I said, you can decorate, you can put another little sentiment here, you can put some buttons. I put a very simple, you know, those magnolia trees, very sweet. And then this gets mounted. This could be the base of your card, so you can put this right on top of your card and just stamp a sentiment inside. It can go in your flip books. So I think that's it. I hope I helped. Some people use these little, you know, pre-scored and fused pouches, but I didn't have one to share this alternative. You know, it's too big, so I'd have to fuse it anyway. But again, I hope this helped. If you have any questions, let me know. There are tons of tutorials out there. This is just, you know, by request, the way that I go about my project. So I think I've done enough talking. I hope you guys have a great day, and I'll see you soon, okay? Bye.